Hi, I'm Katrina. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Jaron Ennis challenges Shawn Porter to a fight. Now, I had seen the tweet or whatever it was that Jaron Ennis, he sent to Shawn Porter, and I was wondering, why is he challenging Shawn Porter? Just to find out that while no one, and I mean no one, is in a hurry to fight Jaron Ennis, Shawn Porter comes out and calls Jaron Ennis overrated, while admitting that when Shawn Porter was still fighting, when he was still active, he gave Jaron Ennis high praise. He said that he's the next Roy Jones Jr., and he said other things. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and quote the exact message that Jaron sent to Shawn Porter. He says, "I heard you said I was overrated. You was just saying I'm ready and too much for these guys, LOL. And you said you won't fight me, but keep that same energy though. If I'm so overrated, come out of retirement and fight me. Now people retire and I'm overrated." Now, guys, I almost forgot to mention, not only did Shawn Porter call Jaron Ennis overrated, he also said that he would pick Keith Thurman to beat Ennis, the same Keith Thurman that just got his unanimous win over Mario Barrios. Let me start by saying this. You know, it's pretty ironic when you think about the fact that if Shawn Porter said while he was still fighting that he believes Jaron Ennis is the Roy Jones of the welterweight division, you guys have to remember, Roy Jones was the Michael Jordan of his era. So for Shawn Porter to give Jaron Ennis all of that praise and didn't give any other welterweight that kind of praise, I'm talking about young up-and-coming lions, right? To give Jaron Ennis that kind of praise, actually, it would have made more sense for Shawn Porter to say the contrary, which is Jaron Ennis is one of the most underrated fighters in the sport of boxing. Because even though Jaron Ennis's peers like Shawn Porter and champions at the welterweight division are giving Jaron high praise, still old media is not really giving Jaron Ennis that much attention. We're talking about a man that knocks out almost every opponent he gets in the ring with, and he does it in a Roy Jones Jr. fashion. But because he's on a coincidental list, most of this is ignored by old media. Ennis is not getting the same type of reception, obviously, that Golovkin was getting when he was knocking out fighters like Willie Monroe and Marco Antonio Rubio, which is what makes Jaron Ennis underrated, not overrated. This is the way it typically works. Usually when a fighter is considered overrated, other fighters are lining up to fight that quote-unquote overrated fighter because they want to be the first person to beat him. If a fighter is overrated, that means everyone in the boxing world is giving this fighter additional credit, which gives you more credit when you beat that guy. And this is the reason why, especially if fighters are looking at this guy and they're saying, "Oh, I see holes in this guy's game. Everyone is praising this guy, but I see holes in this game. Let me go ahead and become the first person to beat him." A perfect example would be like when Andre Ward was calling out Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin, he was being praised as this monster, this beast, this Terminator. In fact, before Gennady Golovkin even fought Canelo Alvarez, ESPN had already rated him as one of the greatest fighters in the last 25 years. And they had him rated over fighters like Roy Jones Jr. So just imagine, Andre Ward is seeing a guy that he knows that he can beat. He sees the holes in his game, and he knows that because they rated Gennady Golovkin so high, that's going to make Andre Ward's win even bigger. Same thing could be said about Canelo Alvarez. If old media and some people are calling Canelo Alvarez pound for pound the best fighter in the world, guess what other fighters are saying to themselves? Wow, they're saying this guy is the best fighter in the world? And clearly, this guy has problems with foot movement. He has problems with people who have a great jab. If I get this guy in the ring and expose him the way Floyd Mayweather did, or Lara, or even Gennady Golovkin did, then guess what? They have to give me the credit for beating the guy that you said was pound for pound the best fighter in the world. That's why everyone is lining up to fight Canelo Alvarez, because old media has overrated him. Now, of course, when Canelo Alvarez was on his European tour at 168 and he was beating all the C-level champions there, of course, Shawn Porter and a lot of other people, they're not going to say that Canelo Alvarez is overrated, despite the fact that Shawn Porter was facing way better competition consistently than Canelo Alvarez is today. Shawn Porter has been in the ring with Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Ugas, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. But like I said, no matter who Canelo Alvarez fights, for better or worse, Shawn Porter and many others, they're not gonna call Canelo Alvarez overrated, because they know those racist fans will crucify them in the comment section. If you don't believe me, ask Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton, just one example. Stephen Fulton, one of the best fighters in the world today, he made the mistake of supporting his own countryman, Caleb Plant, when he was fighting Canelo Alvarez, went on his Twitter, and all Stephen Fulton said, matter of fact, let me put the tweet up and read this to you guys. This is what Stephen Fulton posted. He said, Canelo fans go hard. I said, let's go champ, to Caleb. They start calling me clowns and monkey. I'm like, damn, they said me and him is gonna get knocked out. He's talking about him versus Brandon Figueroa. Terrence Crawford. You guys remember when Terrence Crawford came out and he said that Canelo Alvarez is avoiding undefeated black fighters? Man, he received so much backlash from those racist fans. About 8 months later, he was praising Canelo Alvarez. He was talking completely different because he found out what he said, it went against the popular narrative. It's called deception at its finest. You see, the majority of black people and fans in general, they understand that if you say something about a black fighter, once again, you're not going to get called racial slurs. You're not going to have anyone attacking you personally, at least for the most part. Now, of course, you're going to have people saying, I disagree with you, and maybe you don't know what you're talking about. Jaron Ennis is the future, etc., etc., etc. But that's not the same thing as making it extremely personal, and that's what would deter a lot of people from telling the truth. It is far more easier to just adopt the popular narrative. It's a lot safer. But I do wonder if Shawn Porter knew praising Jaron Ennis while he was still fighting and then calling him overrated once he retires, if he knew that would put a target on his head. And when I say a target on his head, I'm talking about Jaron Ennis putting a target on his head. I wonder if Shawn Porter knew that this was going to happen, or did he expect this to happen once he said this? Now, for whatever it's worth, I do believe if Shawn Porter were to come out of retirement, he would definitely be a big, big test for Jaron Ennis. In fact, Shawn Porter might even be a more tougher fight than a Keith Thurman fight would be. But we know that Shawn Porter, he's not going to come out of retirement. I mean, maybe he may come out of retirement years from now. But right now, I believe Shawn when he says he doesn't want to be a gatekeeper. And that's the exact role that he would play if he came out of retirement. With that being said, that's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
My name is Chris, and I'm all the way here from Anchorage, Alaska at South Carolinas, and I'm here for my second treatment of SMP. Well, I was sitting at home one day and going over my Facebook page, and they have different, like advertisements popping up, and I saw one for S&P, and I saw some pictures of some guys, a before and after, and I was looking at that, and it caught my attention. So I Googled it, S&P, nothing showed up in my area. So, I did a little more research, and all of a sudden, South Carolina's popped up in the web browser. So I started watching his videos and seeing all the reaction from all the other people. We talked on the phone, we made appointments and everything. I sent him pictures, and he looked at them, and I was like, can you fix this? And he pretty much said, no problem. My first session, he made me feel extremely comfortable. It was almost like I was talking to family. He started, and during the whole treatment, we talked and about our families and our life, and and things that he does and things that I do. And before I know it, the first session was over. When you see someone doing something that they love, as much as I see Enoch Glover love what he does, it shows in his work. I wouldn't point anyone in any other direction but here to North Carolina, South Carolina, to get this done.